Hey, what's going on, fam? So another quick video. First, I know it's been a while. As kind of what was going on before. I know it's been like 3, 4 months since I made a video. And what's kind of going on before, when I've taken a break before, just been personal life, busy personal stuff going on. So that's the main reason. But also, as those of you who truly know, um, this work it can be tiring because the amount of black people that truly understand white supremacy sufficiently enough to be able to take actions to damage it and understand exactly what they're doing uh, is a severe minority of black people, period, across the globe. But even if we narrow it down to just America, same thing. I would say it's probably 5% or less, and 5% is possibly being generous of black people that truly have a grasp. And my apologies. Um, Also, fam, I got some allergies, so if you hear a little bit of sniffling, my bad. I'm trying to keep the sniffles at a minimum, but I do have some allergies going on, so my apologies for the sniffles. But like I said, I'll do my best to keep them at a minimum, but they're still gonna be there. But anyway, back to what I was saying. We would need like a critical mass, like I would say at least 20%, if not 30% of us, to really be able to make some change as far as the system of white supremacy. Um, so this work can be tiring with us not being anywhere near that critical mass, and at times it looks like we're not going to get near that critical mass anytime soon to be able to, like I said, enact real change. Um, but with that being said, so those are the main reasons why I wanted to, I guess, or take a break is like I said, personal reasons and the fact that this isn't a job, and not saying that it should be or that I'm trying to make it a job or anything like that. But the reality is, it's not a job, so it's not always the channel is not always the number one priority when it comes to prioritizing dealing with things in my life. And then, like I said, just even with the personal things being there on top of that, um, this work is taxing. It can be taxing and it can be depressing because sometimes it seems like us as people, we're not making any progress mentally, especially. So um, that's that as far as me, taking a break. And I couldn't promise that I'll have consistent videos because I obviously haven't had them. But we'll see. We'll see how things go. But for those of you who have stuck around or are still um, listening to my videos, even though I do take breaks, I appreciate it. Those of you who aren't around, I appreciate it when you were. But anyway, to the main topic of the video and what I want to talk about is this Steven Jackson, Rachel Nichols, Maria Taylor thing. And those of you who don't know, most of you should. Basically, what happened was Rachel Nichols, a white ESPN host, was exposed for making racialized comments about Maria Taylor, a black female ESPN host. And what it is that Rachel Nichols and Maria Taylor, as I just said, are both hosts of ESPN shows, NBA shows in particular. Rachel Nichols is the host of The Jump, which is ESPN's daily NBA show. And Maria Taylor is the host of NBA Countdown, which is the NBA's pregame show for when they air the games, because ESPN and ABC and Disney, they're all one big company. And when ESPN or ABC airs an NBA game, they have a pregame show called NBA Countdown, and Maria Taylor is the host of that. And this controversy is because of the fact that, as Rachel Nichols, as I said a little bit a moment ago, made racialized comments, basically saying that Maria Taylor was a diversity hire, and she was saying this because of the fact that some of her gigs and some of her camera time was going to be taken away and handed to Maria Taylor. especially stuff on NBA Countdown and during the NBA Finals, which, to be honest, is Maria Taylor's purview. That's what she's the host of. She's the host of NBA Countdown. What Rachel Nichols was upset about was that she wasn't going to not only get to be the host of The Jump, but also that she was expecting to be featured and given multiple segments on NBA Countdown. And because she wasn't given more clout and face time, and this is not a money issue, as some people have tried to make it out to be, it's not about money, especially not for Rachel Nichols, it's not about money. So it was a clout issue that caused Rachel Nichols to go white supremacist and show her true colors. And Rachel Nichols has not only shown her true colors with her racialized statements, but she's even shown her true colors in her so-called apologies. Because, and I'm going to put the link in the description box to the New York Times article so you guys can read it yourself. But basically, Rachel Nichols has um, done insincere, fake apologies. This, if I offended you, and the important thing is that if even though I didn't intend to hurt Maria, if I hurt her, then it was wrong. So I apologize because I hurt her. So you're basically apologizing for the fact that it hurt Maria's feelings and not for what you said. Because if you were apologizing for what you said, you would have just said I was wrong, it was unacceptable, it was inexcusable, and I apologize. And I don't know what I was thinking. I was frustrated, but that doesn't justify my statements. That would have been as an appropriate the best apology, or the much more appropriate version of an apology if you were truly sincere, not if I hurt you and I apologize because it hurt you, and because of the fact that it hurt you is the reason why I apologize. No, this is not about you hurting feelings, Rachel Nichols. This is not about if you offended Maria Taylor. What you said was racist, and you want to know how we all know it's racist? Because it is. Let me say. I say how we all know it's racist because it is. But that's really what it is. It is because it is. But also because of the fact that um, if a black man was caught saying this about a white woman, and it was a black man and a prominent white woman in sports, Rachel Nichols would be the main one leading the crusade to have this black man crucified. She would have got, probably, if she would have been forced to cover this story. For example, Becky Hammon is a white woman basketball coach who a lot of these liberals have made, not liberals, but a lot of these women on ESPN who are liberals, like Rachel Nichols, who has portrayed herself publicly as a liberal and a so-called white ally. You can see it by all the segments that about race that come up on The Jump, which I normally fast forward through. But the times that I have seen Rachel Nichols speak, she portrays herself as one of these understanding white allies. And Rachel Nichols and all of these other understanding white allies that work for ESPN have been promoting Becky Hammon hard, and they have been promoting her based on the fact that she's a woman. So they have been promoting Becky Hammon to be a diversity hire, have even implemented a public pressure campaign, a media pressure campaign to make Becky Hammon an assistant NBA coach, an NBA head coach, and to be the first woman NBA head coach. They've basically made that a propaganda media pressure campaign to make Becky Hammon a diversity hire. So clearly, Rachel Nichols has no problem with diversity hires when it benefits white women. And white women, by the way, are the biggest beneficiaries of affirmative action. And that's the real racist part of what Rachel Nichols said, is because that is a typical Trump Republican, or not really them, because again, you guys know I don't like to play the right wing versus left wing of white supremacy and doing too much distinguishing and distinct, drawing too many lines between them, because they're both white supremacists. But if we do want to draw a line, what Rachel Nichols said is something that you would typically hear from a Trump supporter, who we all supposedly agree are racist. Even those of us who are completely uneducated about white supremacy and racism, most of us will agree that a Trump supporter is a racist. And that's what Rachel Nichols sounded like, a typical white wing racist Trump supporter. And why is that? Because of the fact that her position and her gig was so called being threatened. But on that so called being threatened part of this conversation, fam, Rachel Nichols, nobody told Rachel Nichols that she was losing money. Nobody told Rachel Nichols that we're going to take salary away from you and reduce your salary in order to give it to Rachel Nichols. To Maria Taylor, nor did they say we're going to now renege or rescind a raise or promotion we promised you in order to give it to Maria Taylor instead. Neither of those happened. All they said was we're taking away FaceTime and camera time away from you and giving some of it to Maria Taylor. That's all they said to her. That's all they said to her. They did not say, "Oh, we're gonna." Yeah, so they did not say, "Oh, yeah, we're gonna, you know, remove your salary or reduce your salary in order to give it to Maria Taylor." None of that ever happened, fam. None of that ever happened. So for people to be trying to blame ESPN, for Rachel Nichols and her defenders to basically be trying to blame ESPN. Oh, ESPN put them in this position. What position? They put her in a position to be a white supremacist and to say racialized things that um, Rachel Nichols and other white women would have been totally outraged if some black man said it about their position, that they were a diversity hire. If a black ESPN analyst or host or reporter, whatever you want to call it, was caught on tape saying the things about Rachel Nichols or any other white woman at ESPN that Rachel Nichols was caught saying about Maria Taylor, he would have been forced to give a much more forceful apology other than the 30-second apology that Rachel Nichols gave on TV, or the non-apology that I saw her having to supposedly having given in the article, where she's, if I hurt you, if I offended you, I apologize for the fact that it was offensive, not that I said it. Basically, that's what she was saying. Again, I'm paraphrasing and not really exact quoting her, but that's basically what she said. It was a non-apology. All that, the fact that it was hurtful, and I apologize that it hurt Maria, and no, no, you apologize for being racist, which you have not done, because clearly you don't regret it. That's why you keep saying, I apologize for the fact that it hurt Maria. I apologize if it hurt Maria. Blah blah blah. And fam, that's not an apology at all. It's not. And the fact that she's been allowed to go unpunished, because this story, fam, even though it's just now coming out, it's been circulating for a year. This happened a year ago. Rachel Nichols accidentally recorded herself. And then, oh yeah, not only that, she tried to blame, deflect, and say, oh, well, I'm so disappointed that at my colleagues at ESPN recorded me. Nobody recorded you, idiot. You recorded yourself. This same Rachel Nichols, who, like I said, promotes herself as a liberal, do you think she or any of her colleagues or any of her homies that are defending her or defended Donald Trump for being recorded, and tried to make Donald Trump out to be a victim for being recorded on his grab him by the P word, grab him by the use. I don't want to say too much and get myself censored, but I guess I don't know if it matters anyway. It may not matter on YouTube, but um, y'all know what I'm saying. The tapes, the Donald Trump tapes. Did anyone say, "Oh well, Donald Trump is Donald Trump was victimized because he was recorded"? Yeah, some Republicans did, but y'all supposed to be the liberals. Y'all supposed to be so different than the Republicans. But I can go on so many examples of how they're not, and this is why people like me say that they're not. They're only different when it's convenient and when it's useful to fool black people into believing that white liberals are their friends when they're not, and white conservatives are not either. But that's another again, another I don't want to get too much off topic, but fam, this this story and Rachel Nichols, first of all, it's a display of white supremacy because, as Maria Taylor said, the only time HR ever called her on this issue was to question her about whether or not she was the one who leaked the Rachel Nichols tapes. That's the only time Maria said, or the first time that they called her, her HR called her on this incident was to question her to basically ask her if she's the rat. No punishment, no forced to apologize over and over and get suspended like a black analyst would have. Like Stephen A. Smith, even in trust me, I don't defend Stephen A. Smith at all. But Stephen A. Smith got suspended for saying women should keep their hands to themselves. But and you mean to tell me that's worse and more discriminatory than a white woman saying that a black woman was a diversity hire, that basically she got hired not on her merits? When the irony is that white women are the biggest beneficiaries of affirmative action and have always been, as proven by stats and numbers. So if anyone was a diversity hire, it was you, Rachel Nichols. You're the diversity hire. A lot of civil rights legislation didn't get passed and approved. Got people who were against civil rights legislation didn't approve it until white women were added as minorities, specifically for the purpose of what's happened today in 2021, where white women have turned out to be the biggest beneficiaries of affirmative action of any group. Also, white women were beside white men during slavery, during Jim Crow. Yet, what Rachel Nichols, I guess she's promoted white liberal propaganda for so long, she's starting to believe it, where she was basically equating sexism to racism. Well, I don't want, um, this is basically what she was saying in her little recorded conversation. And again, I'm paraphrasing, not exact quoting, but I don't want ESPN to make me suffer because they're trying to make up for racism because I work so hard, unlike Maria Taylor. And that's, again, basically, of course, she didn't say unlike Maria Taylor, but she's basically saying I work so hard. And this is in the same breath that you're saying someone else is a diversity hire. So you are implicating or intimating that Maria Taylor did not work hard while talking and emphasizing how hard you did work. So basically, you were saying how hard I worked, unlike Maria Taylor. I had to work so hard because I was going through sexism from these evil Trump supporting ESPN executives who are all Trump supporters, and I don't want them to make up for their past of being racist uh, by making me pay for it because I had to suffer sexism all this time. So I completely understand, even though I'm being racist towards a black woman, as I'm claiming that sexism and racism are the same. And again, fam, there was portions in that article where I read where Rachel Nichols was basically blaming the fact that she got recorded, even though it was her not knowing how her own equipment works. She's mad that other people found it and didn't just immediately delete it, basically, and cover her tracks for her. And she basically said something along the lines of, "I'm disappointed in my ESPN colleagues and how they record and that they were recording a woman privately in her room." So she almost tried to twist it into a sexual assault thing. The fact that she got recorded being racist. Oh, they were recording a woman privately in her room. What? And then Rachel Nichols wants to talk about how she's reached out to Maria Taylor and Maria Taylor hasn't responded. And another big part of the controversy is how Maria Taylor hasn't wanted to share any camera time or any screen time with Rachel Nichols since this incident has been revealed to Maria, which has been again going on for over a year while Rachel Nichols has received no punishment. And that's the other controversy because anybody else, all those black colleagues, especially a lot of those Sambo slaves who were put out there to cape for her, they know that they would have been punished for saying something like that about a white woman. So, and again, and Rachel Nichols wants to act like, oh, I don't understand, or I reached out to her and she hasn't responded, and I respect that. But Rachel, of course, she hasn't responded to your non apologies and your non sincerity. You're trying to blame ESPN. You're not taking responsibility. You're trying to blame the fact that you were recorded, even though it was you that recorded yourself. You tried to make it into a almost low key sexual assault thing, talking about they recorded a woman alone in her room. No, you recorded your damn dumbass self by accident. And it wasn't no damn porn tape. It was a voice recording. So what the hell are you talking about? And trying to intimate when you say a woman was recorded alone in her room, a recording that you did your damn dumbass self. And then you want to talk about this. If Maria was hurt, then I apologize for hurting her. No, motherfucker, it's not about no damn if somebody was hurt. It's about you being a damn racist and blaming black success on a damn diversity hire and affirmative action, even though white women are the biggest beneficiaries of affirmative action. White people have this thing where they want to act like black people are just so rich and benefit and get so many privileges over white people based on some affirmative action, even though the black white wealth gap is worse than it was then before slavery. White unemployment has never, ever, ever in the history of America, affirmative action or not, ever, ever, ever been um, higher than black unemployment. White unemployment has white people have never had less jobs than black people have available to them. White people are still more educated, they still have more wealth, they still control more of the society, they still have more favorable outcomes in the courts, etc., etc., etc. Yet white people and white supremacists self-victimizing they tell themselves that, oh, black people have so many benefits from diversity hires. No, they don't. In every damn measurable number put out by white people, that's false. So for Rachel Nichols to say this is not acceptable, it's not cool, and it was racist, and then also at the end she tries to deflect and say it was not about Maria, it was about my frustration and how ESPN pitted us against each other. Well, if it was not about Maria, why did you have to bring up her race and that she got her job based on race? If it was not really about Maria, that's not excusable. The only reason to bring up diversity hire is because you were being a jealous racist. And again, nobody was taking money from Rachel Nichols. Nobody told her her salary was going to be reduced or that she was going to be denied a promotion or a raise in order to give it to Maria Taylor instead. There was no zero sum game, which is what you'll keep seeing. Oh, ESPN put them in a zero sum game. No, they didn't. And frauds like Steven Jackson. Oh, I love, because he's a big clown. Oh, I love Maria Taylor and Rachel Nichols. But and man, F ESPN for putting them in this position. Shut up, man. And speaking of Steven Jackson, a lot of people want to act surprised that he's saying what he's saying. I'm not, fam. Because I remember back when Nipsey died, I saw Steven Jackson post something about something. This is why I don't be on that pro-black stuff, because we be killing each other. And fam, this is why I was on Joyce's bumper, and this is why I'm on any dude's bumper who talk that black on black crime talk. Now I've already done videos about it. I don't want to go back over it again. But fam, we all know that every race kills each other more than other members of other races kill people of the same race kill each other more than people of other races kill them. and that's of all races: white, black, Asian, Hispanic, Arab, whatever you want to consider a race, whether it's actually a race or not. Jewish, which is not a race in my eyes, but if you want to call it a race, more Jews kill each other than non-Jews. I'm talking about white Jews, but that's why I don't consider it a race. But anyway, I digress. Every race does that. But not only that, black people suffer more economic deprivation, and studies show that economic deprivation causes higher rates of crime and higher rates of violent crime. And I could tell you, I know for a fact that 50%, if not more, of black on black murder is directly caused by the system of white supremacy. So, yes, not every single black on black murder can be blamed on racism or white supremacy, but I would say 50% or more can be blamed on the fact that we live under a system of white supremacy. It's a useless, nothing burger talking point that's only used to deflect away from racism for black people. Because when this Stop Asian Hate stuff was going on, nobody, not no Stephen Jacksons or any of these other black on black crime sambos, stood up and said, well, I'm not talking about Stop Asian Hate because Asian people, they be killing each other. They be killing each other. Only for black people that's reserved for. And it's only brought up to deflect away from white supremacy and racism, and to somehow justify and say it's okay for black people to be persecuted and murdered and whatever else you want to call it, and oppressed under white supremacy because some black people kill each other. And as I always say, because I don't associate with none of these black people that murder each other and kill each other, for the Negroes who bring it up, you must be one of them. Because somebody's got to be doing it, because they'll be saying, because, if you say to them, of course, they'll say, oh, no, I don't be killing no black people. Well, you must, because it ain't me, and I don't know none of the black people who do it, yet you want all black people to take blanket responsibility for it, so you must be one of them Negroes, because it ain't me, and you clearly know them. And if you clearly either are the Negro who's murdering people, or you know them, because clearly you're so determined and so certain and so fixated on the fact that we kill each other, and that's why we can't talk about racism. So you must be one of them Negroes. So I agree. So you need to be the first Negro to stop killing and murdering other black people, because I don't know them. I'm not them, and I don't rock with those that do. I don't know them. I don't associate with them. But you must be. You either must be the one, or you know the ones, and you ain't stopping them, since you so worried about black on black crime. And of course, Steven Jackson, ever since he said that, all of a sudden, he started getting, his. And I'm not saying this, 'cause I think he got this before the Nipsey Hussle thing. So I'm not saying everything is from him being. But all I'm saying is that that's a sign that the powers that be knew that Steven Jackson was a reliable, safe Negro. They knew that they could basically trust him by him showing his true colors back when Nipsey died, to try to do that, use that as an opportunity to say this is why I don't be on that pro black stuff. And then all of a sudden they had him front and center as George Floyd's friend and pal, and wanted to use him as the token activist for black people. You know why, fam? Because they knew what time it was. Like I knew what time it was with Steven Jackson. They knew what time it was with Steven Jackson. They knew that he would be a safe, approved Negro who would talk in the ways that they approve of, that the ways that don't move the needle, where it's all about hugs and kisses and platitudes, and we gonna get along, and we all gonna love each other, and racism is all about black people and white people just not getting along, and they just need to get to know each other. Racism is not a two-sided disagreement where we just gotta stop arguing and racism will go away. No, fam, it's a one-sided, dictatorial, authoritarian, oppressive system. One-sided. It's a one-sided oppression. It's not no damn two-way argument or disagreement between two sides that don't like each other and have done each other wrong. It's not no damn kumbaya disagreement. It is racism, white supremacy. And the white supremacists intentionally put out propaganda that makes us think that it's about a disagreement, so that it doesn't get that it doesn't get fixed, and that the true culprits, the responsibility isn't placed on the true culprits, and that the only thing that ever happens is hugs and a kiss and a conversation while white supremacy continues. That's intentional to maintain white supremacy. It's placation propaganda. You placate these Negroes, you give them a pat on the head, you tell them it's okay and we're going to hug and kiss, and they'll drop it while white supremacy continues. And they knew that Stephen Jackson would be the type of Negro to make sure that that type of conversation continued, which is why they propped him up as the activist. And he exposed himself because he started referring to George Floyd as George Floyd's stuff. So it's making it look even more like you didn't really know George Floyd. You just grew up in the same neighborhood with him, and then the white supremacists decided to use that, or you maybe even signaled that, oh, I knew George Floyd. No, you didn't. Maybe you used to know him, but clearly you weren't close with him at the time of his death. That's why he was out there on crack and living his life and not in a good state, according to reports. Something tells me y'all weren't close like that. That's why now that you're bucking your eyes and being a slave, Stephen Jackson, you're referring to George Floyd as George Floyd's stuff instead of referring to him as the homeboy that you claim that he was. But again, we knew what it was. We knew who you were, Stephen Jackson. And so, fam, we have to catch on to these games like this. We have to catch on to these games. Um, I was never fooled by Stephen Jackson, but I know some of y'all were. We know what time it is with Stephen Jackson, fam. He's trying to equate um, the racism that black people experience to white people being racist. No, Stephen Jackson. Us saying that we did not get a job because we're black is not the same as a white person saying that they didn't get a job because they're white. And again, it's proven by the numbers. The black white wealth gap has gotten worse since segregation ended. Black unemployment has never been lower than white unemployment. White wealth far, far, far exceeds black wealth. So no, Stephen Jackson. Black people accurately describing racism and white people projecting their racism onto black people is not the same thing. It is not the same thing. And it is profoundly ignorant to try to make it the same thing. And all you did was show your true colors and show how much of an idiot and a bought and paid for a clown you are. That's all you did with your idiotic statements and your ooh, Miss Ann and Massa always been good to me, and all them other analysts who've gotten on, Kendrick Perkins and whoever else has gotten on TV and basically said something along. I mean, Stephen Jackson was the most egregious and showed his colors and the worst. But any of these dudes, none of y'all, all of y'all are clowns and exposing yourself as clowns. Kendrick Perkins, Richard Jefferson, and whoever else was put on TV to basically give cover for Rachel Nichols and talk about how good she been and how she been such a nice master to you and how she hired you on the jump plantation. Again, with the irony of the fact that she's in a position probably because she's a diversity hire, since white women have been the biggest uh, beneficiaries of affirmative action and diversity programs since they've began. So if anyone was a privileged diversity hire, it was Rachel Nichols. Yet you wanna, ooh, she put me on the jump plantation. I'm so grateful for Massa Nichols. And again, Stephen Jackson, which you're trying to equate black people complaining about the racism that they genuinely experience and have experienced to white people projecting and whining when no numbers and no stats back up their claims that they're being discriminated against. While numbers and stats do black up a black person's claim that they may have been and probably were discriminated against based on their race, we seen the test where they showed, and this was like in what 2018 or something, where they showed where the companies where these people who were doing an experiment would send out fake identical resumes, one with a white name and one with a black name, and the HR and the employers would throw out and ignore the black applicants with the exact same qualifications and call or hire the white fake applicant. We seen those studies. So no, it's not the same Sambo Jackson, Slave Jackson. Ooh, I know we as the black people, we be saying I ain't get that job, so we been there. Shut up, idiot. You're. Oh. But anyway, fam, I've ranted a long time on this video. I just wanted to get all my points off my chest. Oh yeah, fam. The last thing I want to say is, because I've seen some black people online. A lot of us, once we free ourselves of the liberal white supremacist propaganda, a lot of us we don't have the ability to make a distinction. I guess I don't know how else to say it, and not all of a sudden start following conservative propaganda. Um, Fam, y'all may see some right wing conservatives or Republicans or whatever you want to call them trying to say that this is an indictment of woke culture and this is woke culture backfiring on itself. No, it's not, fam. This is not about being wrong for even supporting Black Lives Matter or even supporting anti racist things. It is what it is an exposure of is false support of Black Lives Matter and false support of anti racism by liberals. That's what it does expose, but it does not, it's not somehow a condemnation that no one should ever be quote unquote woke or should ever promote anti racism. We should promote anti racism. We should promote equality, but genuinely. And that conversation has to start with policy and other action plans to actually do something about it. Not a damn, we need to have an uncomfortable conversation and have a hug and a kiss. No, we need to have policy and action plans. Yes, corporatized woke culture is fake, but we should have already known that. It shouldn't take a Rachel Nichols incident or somebody saying that ESPN is ran by Trump supporters, even though they've been one of the biggest fake woke companies out there. It shouldn't take that for us to realize that as victims of white supremacy. We should know that just based off seeing for ourselves. That's how we should know that. And understanding the system that we're in. So, fam, don't go around repeating, oh, this is woke culture backfiring on itself. That's a right wing conservative talking point. And following behind right wing conservatives is no different than following behind left wing liberal white supremacists. They're two sides of the same coin, as me and others have said multiple times. It's not an indictment of woke culture, it's an indictment of fake woke culture, which there is a difference. There is a difference. And most people think fake woke culture is woke culture, but it's not. It's exactly what I called it. It's fake woke culture. That's what's been exposed and indicted, but not just woke culture, period. Being woke should be more popular, and it is not indicted because being woke would have allowed more people to see this coming. There was an article, and I may have already mentioned this, but there was a piece in the article where it said this confirms how many with many black ESPN employees how white people talk one way publicly and a different way behind closed doors. Well, duh. Well, duh. Fam, duh. That's why we keep voting for Democrats and white supremacy keeps going. That's why we keep voting for Jim Crow Joe, and he keeps trying to put in another crime bill now. Because we don't address racism and white supremacy seriously. And that's why we fall and think that people like Rachel Nichols, because she has a bunch of empty nothing burger segments on the jump promoting equality and promoting Black Lives Matter, that somehow she's an ally. But then when she gets behind closed doors, she sounds like a Trump supporter. Because it's all fake, and we don't require people to put money where their mouth is, literally, with things like reparations and policy and action. Because we don't require people to put their money where their mouth is, that's why we got lines in that article. Black ESPN employees say that this confirms their suspicion that white people talk one way outwardly and another way behind closed doors. Well, no shit, Sherlock. No shit. Of course they do. And people like me been telling y'all that, or been known that. That's why we talk about things the way we do. Because we need, people like myself want people to put money where their mouth is, which is why we talk about reparations and policy and real change, not hug and kiss and platitude talk, which Negroes like Stephen Jackson are put out there intentionally to do. And they're vetted because they know that they sit up there and say stupid crap like, what about black on black crime? And so then they go out and pick that idiot Negro who they know is an idiot by what he just said, and intentionally make him the activist Negro. That's why he got on there and said, I know I'm the face of equality. What you mean, Stephen Jackson? What you mean you the face of equality? Says who? Oh, your white master who propped you up. He told you that you was the face of equality. And you started believing his hype. You ain't the face of nothing except slavery and being a slave. That's what you the face of. But anyway, fam, this has gone on way, way longer than I wanted to. But I just wanted to get all that off my chest. Another long rant. So anyway, Stephen Jackson is a slave. Rachel Nichols is a racist, and Maria Taylor, I'm riding with you, sister. Don't let them force you to forgive her. Don't, I'm riding with you, especially as long as you stay strong. So don't disappoint me, Maria. But you've been riding so far, so I think you're going to keep on. So hopefully you do. We'll see. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, and that's another video. Peace.